So you may have seen quite a number of videos at this time of year talking about how to reset for 2025, how to make 2025 your best year yet. You may have seen videos around putting in place systems and processes and strategies and goals, and you're feeling a little bit behind or quite overwhelmed. Well, if that's you, this video is for you. Now, if you're listening to this video, my guess is that you are looking for a more simplified way to make 2025 a year of success. You would like to break free of comparing yourself to others, adopting other people's strategies and systems for your own goals. And if this is how you are feeling at the moment, it's time to break free. So let's talk about a more simplified and practical way of setting our goals and our objectives for 2025, achieving them without feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, and also keeping our sanity intact. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is hello.jumokemi. I retired from 9 to 5 in my 30s, and now I live off of my investments. On this channel, we talk about everything from personal finance to wealth creation, as well as self-development. So if that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to click the subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. The first thing is to stop comparing yourself or your situation to others. At this time of year, and specifically over the last few weeks, it is not uncommon to come across videos talking about how to reset for 2025. So you click on the video thinking this could be quite interesting and very informative for me. And halfway through the video, you see this gargantuan system or spreadsheet pulled out. And you're thinking, no, thank you. That is way too much for me. You're absolutely right, because that is their journey. That is their way of doing things. It's their system. It's their process. It's not yours. The reason a lot of us feel really bad at this time of the year is exactly that. We're trying to mimic or mirror someone else's structure or someone else's situation. And we're setting unrealistic, unachievable goals within unreasonable timelines. And we end up feeling miserable and a failure when we don't hit those targets. And this is one of the reasons I personally stopped setting New Year's resolutions, because they just weren't working for me. I stopped setting 20 goals a year because frankly, it was very overwhelming and I was overcomplicating my life. I ended up feeling miserable when I didn't achieve up to 60% of the things I'd set out for myself. Instead, what I do now is I set 3 to 5 heavy or substantial targets or achievements for the year, and I break those down into quarterly targets. For example, I run 2 businesses at the moment, and I have financial targets for each of those businesses. Another goal could be that I'm looking to add between $25,000 and $50,000 to my portfolio this year. But along the way, I do have these mini or micro targets to hit. For example, being consistent on YouTube and making weekly videos, or completing 80% of my daily to-do list. And here's a practical tip for this point. If you feel that you are overwhelmed by the things you're seeing online, or if you feel triggered by content you see online, limit the amount of time you spend on social media and curate your feeds to include content that inspires and elevates your spirit, as opposed to putting pressure on you. And also remember that everyone's timeline is very different. The second point is to revisit your why. The first step to resetting for 2025 is to ask yourself why. Why are these goals so important to me? Are they really aligned with what I truly want, or are these goals that are influenced by things I think I should be doing? Now, it's important to have targets and goals and things you'd like to achieve. There is a saying that goes, what is not measured is not managed. When your goals are deeply personal to you, they become easier to focus on and less draining to pursue. Here's a practical tip for this point. Write down 3 to 5 goals for 2025, and beside each of those, write down why that is important to you personally. And if the reason doesn't excite you, it might actually be time to rethink that goal. Number 3 is to prioritize rest as a core productivity tool. Now, this might sound counterproductive. Rest isn't a reward, it's a necessity, because rest allows your brain to recharge and it helps you make better decisions. We get burnt out oftentimes when we consistently try to push through exhaustion without giving ourselves, our bodies, and our minds time to reset and recover. Now, here's a practical tip you might want to try out in 2025. Schedule rest as you would a meeting. Now, whether that is an hour blocked out for yourself every single day, or perhaps one day every single week, Make it a non-negotiable practice. I personally have decided to carve out 1 hour every single evening to read books, to listen to some incredible podcasts, as well as delve deeper into Stoicism. Number 4, break your goals into mini targets. Now, this point ties very nicely into the first point around setting realistic goals, and not only that, breaking them into smaller steps, actionable steps that make them more achievable and less intimidating. For example, if you're looking to save $10,000 in 2025, think about it from a quarterly perspective. So that means you're looking to save $2,500 every single quarter. Don't worry about sort of the year's number. Think about the first quarter, the second quarter, and so on and so forth. You could also think about it from a monthly perspective, which means that you are saving $10,000 divided by 12, which is around $833 every single month. And then you can take simple, actionable steps towards this. For example, you could set an auto transfer from your current account or your checking account into your savings account every single month, which means that you don't have to manually do it, which can be very painful. And it is an automated system in helping you achieve that saving goal. Now, here's a practical tip for this point. It is not easy to save, especially when you're surrounded with everything telling you to spend and consume. So every time you save, every time you accomplish this goal, give yourself a nice pat on the back. You've done really, really well. Number 5 is to embrace the power of reflection. Now, I believe reflection is very key to staying focused. Taking some time out, perhaps weekly or monthly, to evaluate what is working and what's not. And this can really help you adjust your strategy if it's not working without feeling guilty or frustrated. Ask yourself, am I enjoying this process? Are my actions aligned with my values? Now, here is a very human point to remember. You probably will fail or get lazy along the way. And that is meant to happen because you're human and life is unpredictable. So give yourself a lot of grace over the next 12 months. Remember, it's not always a straight line between point A and point B. Sometimes you have the peaks and the troughs, and that is okay. Now, here is the bottom line. Resetting and focusing for 2025 isn't about doing more. It's about doing and accomplishing what matters most to you and doing it in a way that is sustainable and joyful. I know someone who gets very down and has seasonal depression at this time of the year because they take time out on an annual basis to go on a retreat. And during that retreat, they're thinking about and reflecting on the past 12 months, what's gone right, what hasn't gone so well, and it often becomes a huge weight upon them. Now, life is difficult enough, and I think that is a huge burden, and personally, I think it's a spirit that attaches itself to that individual, and it's something that we have to sort of pray through and break through as well. That can be a huge weight to carry with you into the new year, and that is why it is so important to simplify this process of setting goals, achievable goals for the next year. So remember the key points. Stop comparing yourself or your goal setting system to someone else's. Know your why, prioritize rest, and break your goals down into smaller targets. And lastly, take some time to reflect regularly. Now, if you found this video helpful, do not forget to click the like button. Also consider sharing it with a friend who might be thinking about resetting for 2025, but does not want to do it in an overwhelming way that will definitely lead to burnout. I wish you a happy new year. Let's go into 2025 with a gung-ho can-do attitude. Until next time, look after yourselves. Bye for now.